Have you ever come home from a long day of work or just had a really exhausting day and you just felt like bathing yourself in just the salt and the tears and just that negative energy that the internet just loves to produce these days? Some people call it hate content. Some people look for just that feeling that all is wrong with the world. If you do, this video might be for you, and if not, that's okay if you just want some entertainment. Ladies and gents, Casual Gaming Dad here. I'm back again. I'm trying hard. I'm putting some effort to try to do a consistent, at least one video a week, just to keep the content rolling. Haven't been as motivated lately, which is why I haven't seen as many videos from me, but the last few weeks I have, and I'm going to try to keep that going. Now, I've been seeing lots of people talk about the Baldur's Gate 3 drama, including myself, and couldn't help but notice some things. And, well, I went to the Metacritic page, and, well, let's see what we got here. Whoops. Nope, I didn't want to do that. Okay, yeah, let's make this a little bit larger. Here we go. Whoops, I'm really teeny tiny over there. Sorry about that. Okay, I think that'll do. So as you can see here, we have the Metacritic score actually dropped from a 97 to a 96. I mean, the number of critics' reviews is going up, so naturally, it's going to be difficult for it to hold that space. I mean, still, an outstanding review. But what I did notice was the user score, right, which is also very high. Over a 9 is really good to maintain, especially when you get into thousands. But I know this number was higher, so I scrolled down here and I saw that there were some negative reviews, and I said, you know what, this will probably make for a fun video. So let's take a gander. Let's see what people have to say. Now, I'll be the first to tell you before we look at these reviews. Baldur's Gate 3 is a very well-made game for fans of CRPGs, fans of Larian. If you've played their games before, it's an outstanding demonstration of passion, effort, and time and energy. But it's not for everybody. It's just not. And, I'll probably get reamed for saying this, but, I played Elden Ring for about 14 to 15 hours. And the reason why I stopped was for a few reasons. First, I got distracted with playing other games that I got on a real kick about. That was earlier this year. And then, before I knew it, Diablo 4 came out. I was playing that, and played another game after that, and then now I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I just never got back to it. And also, Elden Ring is just, it's just not my kind of game. The only Souls game I played and finished was Dark Souls Remastered. And even then, I needed a lot of encouragement to finish that game. And so, it's just not my kind of game, and that's okay. That's alright. And no matter how you feel about that, that's okay. And Baldur's Gate 3, I'm playing it right now. I'm about 30 hours in, and I'm having a blast. It's an outstanding game. Outstanding. Probably my game of the year, honestly. But it's okay if you don't, and that's all right. So let's go take a look. Let's see if these are legitimate complaints, concerns, or if this is just the usual. Okay. What to say? Let's see. Let's zoom in a bit. What to say when you see something like that get a score of 9.7, bigger than some classics like Half-Life, Bioshock, Portal, Vice City, StarCraft, etc. You can see the state of the gaming industry. A large part of this game is just a bad movie. 10 minutes of talking, 5 minutes of turn-based combat, then another 10 minutes of talking, and let's not forget the 5 minutes of cinematic where someone moves their lips and eyes as if they're constipated when the narrator explains everything to us because we were blind and deaf. Some locations are decent, but apart from them, everything is pathetic. The biggest city, it's just a joke. No spoiler, but looked like a joke how they hyped it and nothing in the end. Okay, I think I know probably what he's referring to, but alright. Companions are annoying, and they're just to piss off the main character, same with the romances. Gameplay, it's a turn-based 5e, 5th edition, that's D&D, so bad from the start, the story's full of cliches and predictable. All the endings, only one is decent, no spoilers. Wow, how many endings? This is August 11th. So that was like, how long after the game came out? How many endings did you see? Huh. The characters are annoying? Okay, I mean, I guess that's subjective. You don't like turn-based. You know, if you've played the Divinity games, it's a similar type of combat, but it's 5th edition integrated, and did a pretty good job with that. But all right, I mean, okay, all right. Good history and artistic works, but the combat style isn't the best for me. Okay, that's fair enough. But I consider that someone that likes the genre could have a good experience. So this person gave it a 4 out of 10, even though the combat style wasn't for them. Seems a little bit low if the combat's not for you. I would give Elden Ring, from what I played, like a 9 or 9.5, and it's not the game for me, believe me. But, alright. Not a bad game, but a bad sequel. If the game were called Divinity 3, I'd rate it 9. It wouldn't be a Divinity 3. Divinity is not a D&D style game. But okay. If it was called D&D Original Sin, it would get a decent 8. Okay. Unfortunately, the game is called Baldur's Gate 3. I don't mind the turn-based combat system. Main criticism of the game overall just doesn't feel like playing a BG game in the Forgotten Realms. Well, this is 20 plus years later. Why would you expect it to be like that? That old. Listen, I played Baldur's Gate 2 years and years and years ago when it was out on PC, and you know, then I went back and I played Baldur's Gate 1 just like, was it a year or two ago? And I'm sorry, that combat system just hasn't aged well. It wouldn't be good if they did that. They had to make it more modern. But okay, sure. Developers have also failed in creating iconic companions. All commands I've met so far are just unlikable, that I prefer to wander the Sword Coast alone. Wow, that's interesting. I haven't felt that way. There's actually a couple of companions that I absolutely love. But alright, again, subjective. The NPCs are so exaggerated, you feel like you're playing a level 12 party that's been level drained back to level 1. Appearance, history, ambitions, and abilities just don't match. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't really get that. In addition, there are numerous design decisions that dilute the D&D system for no reason. For example, in character creation. You know, okay. What D&D game, this is the question I asked this person, what D&D adaptation video game have you played that does it better? The only other one, the last one that did a good job was Neverwinter. And that's 20 years old, and that was 3rd edition. That was the last good D&D game I played besides this one. There's so many games that go out there at least somehow attempt to capture the flair of their predecessors. In BG, you get the feeling the designers hardly cared about the originals? I haven't finished the game yet, so I can't really say that, but it definitely feels like a D&D game. I don't know. I'm not sure. Little brother tries to rank, it's olden by the cocky behavior and fails to track comparison. Okay. Oof, yeah, I don't know about that one. Whole bunch of hype with no substance. There really wasn't that much hype. It got hyped after it came out. Like, only fans were like watching for this. Sure, the game is pretty. Yeah, it's a nice looking game. When every single dialogue option goes to a game cutscene for NPCs that says one line down the interactions, then it becomes overindulgent. There's a lot of interactions. Are we playing the same game? It's a story-based game. It's supposed to be like slower paced and exploratory. The UI is absolutely terrible. I don't have any problems or gripes with it, really, with one or two minor things. It fights with you every step of the way and will have you constantly save scumming. Listen, I mean, If you're same scumming, that's a personal choice. The game doesn't have you do. You don't have to do that. You can let yourself. You can leave the game and just leave your decision making to see what happens. You can't have the game work out exactly as you want. You can save scum, sure, but I don't understand when people are complaining about this. It doesn't make any sense. You don't have to do that. You shouldn't be doing that. Like, it's, why are you playing this game if that's all you're gonna do? You could do that in any game where you can manually save. Then it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not sure. Like, this I don't get. This I don't. The only time I've reloaded the game a handful of times, but that's only because I was gonna die and I was just saving myself time if I messed up in combat a couple of times. You know, I wasn't gonna just, oh, I didn't get the roll, need to go and reload. The actual gameplay is not fun. Okay, fun is subjective. I think it's really fun. Okay, but that's me again. Obviously, you know, a lot of people think it's fun. I don't. Okay. It fights with you every step of the way. Hold on, sorry, I lost my spot. And we'll have you okay, actually, the main level, the max level in the game is 12. Just as your build is starting to feel good, boom, game ends. Majority of the game is spent at low levels, D&D, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. That's how D&D is. Do you know how people are complaining about this? They don't really understand. I don't know. Have you guys played actual D&D? I think once in my life I got a character that was double digits. It takes a long time, and like, I'm level 6 right now in the game, and I already feel very powerful as it is. So, you know, I'm not sure what people are expecting. I think a lot of people just seem to have just saw the hype after the game and they heard about it and they thought, oh yeah, I need to play this game, and they just didn't do enough research and thought, like, is this game for me, really, you know? But okay. For what I tend to balance out the hype. High-level campaigns are a disaster if not executed properly. I feel like the best part of D&D is on low levels. Morgosis, first of all, thank you for the follow, and I have to agree with what you're saying. I really do. You know, high-level campaigns are just very complex, and I remember just reading about my characters and seeing what they could do at 17, 18, 19, and 20. It's too godlike, right? It's more interesting. It's more grounded when they're lower level. So I think it makes sense that they did what they did. I personally don't find it a problem at all. You know, people are just used to a game. Like, for example, like I just played hundreds of hours in Diablo 4, and people are just, you know, you're used to a game like that where you're just constantly having to keep getting more powerful. But this game, it's very incremental. A singular level, it could be massive, right? Getting an extra spell slot, a feat is a huge deal. I think at level 5, a couple of my characters got an extra attack. That's just massive, right? 13 level spells are yeah, they really are. You know, and it depends on the class, right? Some classes are more powerful than others, but absolutely. So, you know, I could go pull out my player's guide and I'll probably do that after I finish the game and look and be like, oh yeah, some of these spells are just way too good. But I'm just, since you're just joining me here, I'm looking at these people negative reviews. I'm trying to see if there's some legit criticisms here, or if we're just, you know, got sucked into the hype after the game came out and now I'm going to bomb it. Now, this is a longer review here, so I'm very curious to see what this person has to say. Just like the big gaming releases backed by social media marketing, the release of Baldur's Gate 3 is again point to the roots of marketing hypes and public relations, propaganda. People become devotees up in arms against anyone who stands the way in its gloriousness, its holiness. Well, okay, that's not true. I'm a huge fan of Larian. And yes, it is my game of the year at this point. It's probably going to be, but that's an opinion. You don't have to think it's game of the year. It doesn't matter to me, right? Yes, I know that's what the internet is. Larian is a small, very small. They grew very larger because of this game, but they were very small always. They're not a big company known, you know. So I don't know about this. It's sad to see the name of Baldur's Gate used for an entirely different game. They had to modernize it. The old style just doesn't work. It's not gonna age well, right? But it's taken from that world and it's adapted to 5th edition. So yeah, I think they've done a really good job with that. But again, that's just an opinion of mine. Agitated Hollands is shaping the current gaming industry. I'm shocked that this person is lumping this game in together with most games that come out nowadays. It's just not. It's not. It doesn't. They don't have the same problems that most companies have. In this context, the actual game and its contents have become pretty much irrelevant. Really. BG3 is a professional industry product, but has almost nothing in common with the original 2 games. So what's the difference in BG3 and the other 2 games, which stayed in the memories of a whole generation of gamers? 1 and 2, a personal journey with mysterious locations, epic tales, and legendary treasures to uncover. You start as a nobody that slowly gets involved in grander schemes while growing in power until your party fights the very gods that try to exploit you. Pacing is great. BG3, a sequence of beautiful but arbitrary set pieces with random junk loot scattered around. The story starts with a bombastic climax as your level 1 party is already breaking out of a giant flying prison made out of tentacles. I understand why people might be mad about the changes, but at the same time, yeah, it had to be modernized. Otherwise, it just wouldn't succeed with current mindset most people have. In this way, it brought D&D to so many people who wouldn't touch it otherwise. Yeah, well said. Honestly, very well said. Morgosis, again, I'm just not sure why you would expect it to be like this. And I don't agree, by the way. I think there's so much to explore and see in this game, and I think so far I think the story is very interesting. I'm not even done with Act 1 yet. So, I'm really taking my time, 30 hours. I'm just not even done with Act 1. I'm just exploring. I really want to just take my time and enjoy it the first time around. My additional playthroughs, it'll be more about experimenting with different classes and builds and maybe trying out some other areas that maybe I didn't fully get through and explore. I try to do things that make sense to me. I'm not going to force myself to do something that I'm not really genuinely interested in doing just to do it, so... BG1 and 2, at its time, an innovative and very fun combat system. Yes, at its time, real time with pause. Although now, when I go back and play it, I don't like that style. Really don't. I don't feel like it's very rewarding for strategy. And then you on pause and just everything goes off. I prefer the turn-based. I can look around and plan my moves. I prefer that, kind of like a chess game. Translated the D&D rules to computer medium and kept the narrative flowing while still providing a lot of tactical maneuver because you could pause the action any time. I know, but I hate that. I don't like the pausing and then the real... I get it if you really like the real time, but I played Divinity and I really fell in love with that style, and I really like it. And it's not the first game that had it like that, but it's the style that I definitely enjoy the most. Common and generally slow turn-based system adapted from the Divinity where archdemons wait in line like orderly citizens. How's this any different from you pausing it, though? How's that any different? Yes, it can feel slow, but I like that. I want to be methodical. I want to take my time. I want to look it over. I want to look at the environment. I want to see... calculate my odds of doing this, taking this guy out. Should I spread my damage? Should I focus fire? Should I use the environment to my advantage? I like to do that. It's a very rewarding experience for me, Yeah, same Morgosis. Same. Divinity 2 for me. Look, if you're a Divinity fan, this is going to be a pretty much automatic win for you, unless for some reason you really don't like D&D. But even then, the adaptation is really well done, I think. So, okay, BG1 and 2, charming and endearing characters with a wide range of personalities. John Aronekis is an iconic villain. BG3, in essence, and in contrast to the supposed uniqueness, the companions of BG3 act very trendy. The style is hip, the substance is square, a nod to mainstream fiction, which is full of edgy anti-heroes. I think they're very entertaining. Look at characters like Asterion. He's so snappy, and he just like when you click on him and he says, "Don't touch me." You know, he's so adamant and assertive, and you know his little playfulness. It's fun to interact with him, right? And then you have characters like Karlak, who is just she's just such a badass. Like when you tell her, "Hey, let's go," she's like, "Yeah, yes, yes, let's do that." You know, she's so like excited in the moment. And then Shadowheart is kind of like a little shy, a little off-put at first, and then as you slowly get to know her, she like opens up to you, and she's very intrigued, and just the body language from her going like this to kind of leaning, oh, my day just got better, So I don't know, I really like that. I enjoy those interactions. A lot of times I go to camp, and I just go and talk to every single person in the camp, even if I'm not using them in the party at the time. So I feel like in this game, I get to interact compared to like Divinity, for example, whereas you have your characters that you choose for your party, and then you work with them throughout the game, and you get some interaction with the others. But in this game, I get to constantly have exposure to those characters, and I can even like swap them in and out here and there. I don't have to worry about leveling up. They're all caught up. I really like that. It's very enjoyable for me, and I think the stories are really interesting, and I plan on probably using some of the other characters a bit more in subsequent playthroughs, because I want to like really get more into that. But you really have the opportunity to do that in the game, and I like that. That's just me. BG102, witty and nuanced high fantasy, reflections on the human condition and the thirst for power. Okay, interesting take. A complete checklist of aggravatingly shallow identity politics that fails to reflect that fiction can be more than just superficial representation without becoming reactionary. A disservice to truly progressive politics because of the heavy-handed moralizing involved. I have to finish the game. I'm not really sure. I'm assuming this person finished the game, but I'm not sure. Maybe there's some truth to some of these things. I'm just not seeing it really, personally. But okay, let's move along. Let's finish it. 1 and 2, a gift by crazily talented people that wanted to share their passion. You might as well just copy and paste this for BG3, because that's exactly what these people are. A fancy and stylized product based on a famous brand made by industry experts. Come on, these guys are obviously very talented and very passionate. Come on, you can't even give Larian that? Jeez, okay. BG1 and 2 ran on an average computer just as Divinity Original Sin 2 provided the engine for BG3. Time to upgrade. Overpriced graphics cards have long enough been waiting. Jeez, wow. I mean, run on lower settings, I guess? I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's obviously they're gonna up the scale a bit, I mean, it's Original Sin 2 came out in, was it 2017, right? So it's been 6 years. That's to be expected, I have a 3080, Ti, and I mean, it runs beautifully, but I mean, I don't have the latest and greatest, but 3080 is obviously great anyways. After all these years, Baldur doesn't change direction by building on its predecessor's strength. It rather escalates a sad trend by trying to assimilate the identity and brand of good old games while omitting most of the original's defining this review is obviously a love letter to BG1 and 2, which I can understand you being a big fan. I was a really big fan of Baldur's Gate 2. I really was. For the time, I was a PC gamer. I was a really, really big fan. I played that. I played the expansion. Some of the more memorable RPGs I played back in the day. But, with time, I grew to really appreciate and love more modern ones. And Divinity, Original Sin 1, was one of the first ones that I really, really appreciated a lot more. And the style and the storytelling and the combat was really interesting. And 2 was just a masterpiece. I mean, it just nailed everything. It took everything that was good about the first one. I just improved. I didn't take out anything that was good. And I just loved it. I loved the storytelling. I loved the characters, the origin characters, all the choices you had. This game has so much depth going for it, though. So, it just... Okay. I can understand some people's frustration with the fact that it has the name Baldur's Gate, and they really would expect it to have some defining characteristics of that. It has the D&D place. It has the location. It has the mind flayers and whatnot. But this is over 20 years ago, and Larian has creative liberties, and they got that, they sold that and they got that, and they wanted to take it in a different light. And, being a person who was a fan of Divinity, it's just an easy sell. It just really was. It was going to be polished and it's going to be well done. They're pretty much the last company I really expect to be this polished, because they just have so much passion and love for what they do. Honestly, sometimes it worries me that liking a series might prevent me from liking successor of my generation of games if they're different in the future. Yeah, I can understand that. I can, but I just choose to give games a chance anyways. I don't expect every CRPG to be, at Larian's quality and its level, and just sadly. And you know what? That's okay, because I can always go back and play other ones or just replay those games, right? Let's do a few more. Look, I see Dragon Age Origins. I just played those games recently too. So that's what I was telling my son recently is, I don't need big releases all the time because there's so many great games we've gotten over the years. I can always go back and play them. Worst camera handling in a 3D RPG. Tedious, imprecise, time consuming. I use the arrow keys and the delete and N to like rotate the camera and whatnot. UI, there's miles behind the UIs of Celeste. I've heard pretty good things. I haven't played it. Origins. I don't know about that. I mean, Origins had its problems too. Icons and text array small. I don't remember thinking that. Tooltips and abilities and spell lack important information. You can press T and look at all those things. A spell book that is an embarrassment. The item sort function only works in... I don't ever had a problem with the spell books. Which problems? Can you elaborate? The item sort only works in one inventory mode and not in others, and there are item filters. The list continues. When do you think Bethesda... I mean, I'll admit I have to do I've spent a little bit of time doing inventory management, but I started just delegating that to certain characters. So like Shadowheart has all of my scrolls. Karlach, I give her all the heavy stuff since she has a lot of strength, and she's the one I use to sell things. I keep more things that I need more access to on my main character, and then on Asterion I give him all the arrows because he's, I use him as a rogue. And so I just kind of decided early on that's what I was going to do, and it's kind of worked for me, and the rest I just sent to camp, Bad performance on my relatively fast laptop. The music stutters. Could be some driver issues maybe, I'm not sure. I haven't had those from. The only issue I had was initially I was getting a little bit of echo during cinematics and having interactions with characters, and so I had to go to a Windows setting and turn it off. I forgot what it was. Can't remember which setting, but I turned it off and it fixed the problem. Unfaithful implementation. Guys, it's not going to be perfect. It can't be. You can't compare a regular D&D to a video game adaptation. It's as good as we've gotten it, okay? So I don't know what this means, okay? 9 chest of barrel dead loot is irrelevant. I mean, you expecting legendary equipment every time? I mean, I picked up a lot of stuff, and if it's not useful, I sell it, Landscape and dungeon graphics are oversaturated, except for some characters really bad quality. The iconic soundtracks of BG 1 and 2. Unmemorable sound. Really? I happen to like the music quite a bit. I don't know. I thought the music was great, but again, that's just me. These are just opinions, right? Just like mine is. Gameplay C is mostly boring. The load times. The load times are definitely a little bit more than your average game, but definitely doesn't take me that long. So that's that must be your not. Yeah, let's see. I mean, it's a laptop, so it's not going to be as powerful. But turn-based combat is a bad choice. Anyone try to design a battle like the Watchers Keep Last Citadel Twisted Ruin on turn-based? Happy failing. Yeah, this again, just another common complaint, right? You're seeing here. It's just people just didn't like that style. Well, why didn't you watch someone play it first, or look at gameplay videos, and you could see if that was for you or not. Crashes. I had 2 in the first 20 minutes. I've had zero crashes. Okay? I mean, I know people have, and that's understandable. I've had 0. Okay? That's just me. Neither a spiritual successor or BG2 nor a good RPG. It features typical Larian. Wow, this person just has beef with Larian, huh? Alright, you don't like passionate, nerdy game studios who polish their stuff? Alright. Relevant and flat characters. 0 tension in the absence of any atmosphere. How much of the game did you play? That's definitely not true. That's definitely not true. Typical Larian style color grading made for a Walt Disney compatible world full of woke boringness. Okay. Alright. I mean, I don't know what to say. What I'm seeing here, I'm sure we could go on and on. What I'm seeing here is, oh wow, look, it's actually more. When I clicked on the previous page, it said 110, now it's 550. So what I'm seeing here is, I'm seeing a trend, right? I'm seeing people that really expected this game to be much more similar to Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Probably 2, obviously. It's been a long time, though, and the game hasn't aged well. It just hasn't. It's kind of hard to go back and play. And so I think people's expectations just were off, right? Morgosis, I mean, from my point of view, I take a few points away from UI and inventory management tools. Objectively, I did UI design in my old job. Okay, interesting. But I definitely can't think of what would possess me to give a 0, right? Yeah, I mean, see, this is my thing, is people are giving these really, really, like, low, like this person I could tell really went in depth, and, I mean, they had some very, very specific details that you can tell they were really loved BG 1 and 2, gave it a 4, it seems like, see, 4 to 10 to balance out the hype, so they lowered the score, right? So they probably would more subjectively give it a bit higher, but just really wanted it to be more like BG1 and 2. This person, I don't know what to say here. One of the worst games I've ever played. I don't even care that his original Sin 2 clone has nothing in common with Baldur's Gate. The game is very depraved. The dialogue is Reddit tier awful. Wow, yeah, I don't know about that one. You finished the game with around 60 hours of quality story. Okay. 60 hours. I have 30, and I'm still not done with Act 1. So, I'm not sure how long it's going to take me. Act 1 took you 20? Okay. I'm not even sure, like, I've been avoiding spoilers, so I'm not even sure what sequence of events I need to finish Act 1. But I have a feeling that the direction I'm heading in now is probably going to be, I'm heading towards the oh yeah, no, I appreciate that. I went to the Mountain Pass, and I went to the Githyanki camp, and then now I left that. I did some stuff there, some very interesting stuff there. I'm not going to say anything else. And then now I'm heading towards the towers, and I have a feeling that's probably where Act 1 ends, but I'm not sure. Game is okay, nothing beyond it, too expensive. I mean, it's okay. That's $60. Okay, it's brand new. Graphics okay, good history, but without action, probably not my type of game. Okay, at least this person admits it's probably not their type of game. Like, that's reasonable, right? Combat takes 10 hours per fight. I mean, it definitely doesn't. If you're just screwing around, it probably does. I don't know what people say, yeah. Act 2 starts after Mountain Pass. We take a certain... Okay, yeah, I got you. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I do have that option. I know what you're talking about. What you just said. But, yeah, so I have a feeling that I'm getting close, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just enjoying it. I know it's going to take however long it takes, but... Yeah, poor character creation. I think for some people, I can see the character creation being a little overwhelming, especially if you're not familiar with D&D. You're going to be really confused about like the spell slots and you know all your abilities, all your checks, and like that sort of thing is going to be a little bit confusing to someone who hasn't been exposed to the D&D universe before. But I mean, you know, we've got I mean, it's 10 p.m. PST for me here, and we've got almost 500,000 players, you know. So I don't think it's enough to have deterred people. I mean, this is a very, very consistent amount of players playing this game. I mean, it's still pretty new, and I mean, this will likely drop off with time, but we still have lots of people. I'm honestly like, I'm shocked at how well it's doing. I mean, I was gonna love it, but I'm really shocked about that. And but I'm happy for Larry and for their success. I hope they make more games. Where new people are making wizards and stuff because there's nothing more silent than seeing a new D&D player in me. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I think I played my first real D&D like 15 years ago. I was an adult. It was a while. I didn't do it when I was young. I didn't have any group. I probably would have if I would have known people who were doing it. But the system layer made it easy to explain. I think so, but for someone who hasn't been exposed to that, I can see how maybe it would be confusing, and I think that's fine. Bad game, bad game. The story is like really. Why? What is? I'd love to like just sit down and have a conversation. Well, first I have to finish the game, right? But I just love to have to sit down and have a conversation. I don't remember thinking once that the story was bad. Like why? But oh yeah, you're much younger than me. You're much younger than me, but yeah, I got invited by a friend a while ago, and it was a lot of fun. Honestly, I had a lot of fun. We did just it was like a 8 or 9 hour little mini campaign type thing, and it was fun, And I've done it a bunch of times ever since. I haven't in a couple of years. The last time I did one was we were doing the Tales of Middle Earth version, right, which was very cool adaptation. I love Lord of the Rings, so for me that was easy. Like, oh yeah, I'm interested in this. So that was very cool and very fun. But most of my experience has just been with I've only played like, was it 3rd edition and above? Real life 3rd edition. I played 3rd, and then 5th came out years later, and then we played that. So yeah, I think it's a pretty solid adaptation. I really do. I'm not sure. I'm not the most creative person. I don't know. Okay, it's not for me. Thank you. Just like, I can respect that. You say that, but game is not fun. The controls not good. Story is bad. Graphics up to par 0. God's sakes, man. Whew. Yeah. See, I'm not gonna click on those because they have spoilers. I don't want people to get spoiled and whatnot. But yeah, I think we've seen enough. This video has already gone on for quite a while. And what time is it? I don't know if I have time to log on and play for a little bit, maybe. But yeah, regardless, I think there's some legitimate complaints here. I just don't think a lot of these scores are justified. I just don't. I think people like to just come and just put like a lower score than they normally would, just like hate on a game, and that they think is getting overly hyped, and I don't see this as one of those games. Like, it just doesn't, like, let's go to another game that got recently released that had a lot of hype behind it that I played a lot of. I mean, look at that, similar amount of reviews. It's got a 2. Obviously, it's getting review bombed, and I'm not saying it's not justified. There's definitely a lot let's just call it Activision, could have done better with this game. But You know, I think for what it's worth, Larian's doing pretty good. I think they're doing just fine, and I'm happy for their success. You know, I hope they'll make more games. You know, give us maybe a little more. Maybe they talked about expansion for this game, Divinity 3. You know, I'd be all for that. But if it was a regular hype, then it wouldn't be still it. Then it wouldn't still be the successful. Yeah. I think the fact that it wasn't so hype leading up to it, and it is this successful is very telling. Very telling. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna end the video. Thanks for the follow, and you know, I'll see you next time. I post these types of videos on YouTube. Actually, I stream it here, and then I'll do some minor modification. I'll put it on YouTube. So I'm Casual Gaming Dad on YouTube if you want to check that out. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. I'll probably be doing this like maybe once a week or so, and I appreciate your time and for your input. But for the rest of you watching, you know, if you like this type of content, leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Alrighty, bye bye.